I think we're moving on, or moving along pretty well. Biggest thing, we're trying to install kind of a new system and getting guys to understand the terminology and kind of the tempo of play that we want to have has been a good adjustment. And guys are seeming to pick things up. We're getting a ton of good reps in practice. Just got done with the scrimmage, getting 92 plays, which is what our guys need right now. Good repetition. No, not really. I think it's an easier transition coaching quarterbacks because, in the past I've had to know and understand every aspect of the offense anyways to communicate that with the quarterbacks. And, now as the offensive coordinator, still coaching quarterbacks, I think I can tell them exactly, the mentality of the play calls, our expectations on downs and distance and our goals and what we're trying to get each time out there with every snap. And being in the meeting rooms with the quarterbacks every day allows me to consistently communicate that stuff to them. So, biggest thing right now is just being efficient what we're trying to do. We've been able to increase our tempo quite a bit, which has been great. We want to be efficient though in what we're doing, and having our guys. It's a tough process early on to transition from the last play go to the next one, and 10 seconds later that ball's being snapped. And being able to get the call of these guys, let them get lined up for a second, know their assignment, and get off and going. And that's probably been, the biggest thing we were focused on throughout spring, and we knew that was going to be the case. I think our guys have done a great job thus far, heading into practice 10 tomorrow, just kind of understanding how quick things have to transition from the last play and moving on to the next play. Really good. We have some real good young receivers who have done a tremendous job already. McDonough, Zach Griggs, Josh Weller, Darren Brady's done some good things for us. At tailback, our two young tailbacks, and Eckler and Grosso, those guys played quite a bit last year, but they've been able to pick up right where they left off from their freshman year. At quarterback, with Matt Simcoe, he was a redshirt for us in the fall. He's done a tremendous job this spring. Really stepped up the competition at that position, along with Forrest Weatherstrom. He brings a little different dynamic to the position, a more athletic running style quarterback. Up front, we've had some guys step in. Anthony Romero at center came in on the scrimmage and took about 60 of the 90 snaps, and is really coming along, moving pretty well, understanding the scheme. So it's been good to see some of these guys step into a role when they're thrown in with some of the older guys now, and really build that competition up.
Spring's been going good. We were able to get in pretty much all of our defense before that first scrimmage, which we were looking to get a large portion of it in, and looking at some different substitution packages, and we were going to look at a couple different ones. We found one that we liked, and kind of just settled on that, and been able to adjust that around as needed based on the personnel we got. So that was good as far as the install went. I think by simplifying some of the things and not having too many packages, it's allowed our guys to really focus on the techniques that we're trying to teach, and we've seen quite a bit of improvement of just some of our coverage aspects, trying to get guys to routes and covering up receivers and not just letting guys float free and running through space. So that's been good. We've seen quite a few improvements in that area, I felt like. Yeah, it's fun. You really get to focus more on just hitting people with the linebackers. DBs, there's a lot of technical work that goes into it that has to be good for you to be a good DB, and teaching that takes a lot of time, and it's kind of fun getting into the linebackers and really focusing on just running and tackling guys and being physical on blocks. And one of the questions I was getting a lot early is, Coach, how exactly do you want me to play this? I don't care. I just want you to hit them hard, and then we can work off from there. So that's been a good improvement for us, and it's been fun working with those guys that way. Really, these last couple practices, it'd be nice to really see the guys really fine-tune some of the coverages. I think our run fits have got decent. We got to continue to improve with all the new inside linebackers. I mean, only Leif took any reps for us at inside linebacker last year with Chris Bass and Jordan Woodyard and Sean Padilla. None of those guys took reps for us last year. Chris wasn't here. Woody was hurt, and Sean was still learning the system. So those guys have been good. Getting in the run fits, I think those will continue to improve. But for these last couple practices, it'd be really nice to see the guys fine tune as a whole unit at one time some of the pass defense concepts to where we're getting 3, 4, 5 guys working in the right direction at the right time, not just seeing 1 or 2 guys get it and a couple guys floating around out there. They're coming along good. I think at linebacker, it's been fun to watch Devin Suits really start to grow into the outside linebacker position. You know, he redshirted as a DN 2 years ago. Last year, he got some spot playing time at outside backer. He's really started to grow this year into having, you know, a full year of practice at linebacker now. At corner, it's been good to see Nigel Vaughns get some reps. He's been taking quite a bit of reps. He's even started to mix in with a lot of the older guys. He's not just in a rookie group anymore. So that's been good for us. You've seen Will Halligan take quite a few good reps this spring at safety. And then on the D-line, there are vets. You know, a couple of them are vets, but they're still young guys. Tommy Chavera, you know, has been getting a lot of reps with the older group. And then it's been good watching Roger Lodgren come along with you know, Jared Martin and Brendan Hassau, you know, at the defense end position. So T-Mac, Travis McMurrin has really been taking a huge step forward this year, which at the nose guard position, which we're really going to need with Lane leaving. It's going to take a lot of work at that interior spot on the defense for us, and T-Mac's been doing a really good job in there for us to date.
Just, you know, we saw a lot of good things. You know, older guys, you know, kind of picking up where they left off at the end of last season with just the basic offense and defense, you know, not having to go back and reteach some of that. And then getting a chance to see some of the younger players get some more, you know, quality reps throughout spring ball. You know, I had a chance to see a lot of guys come in and compete and show us what they can do. You know, a lot of those guys that redshirted maybe during the fall, you know, were around to, you know, kind of show us what they've learned throughout the spring with some meetings and, you know, kind of show off, you know, to a sense, you know, what they've been doing in the weight room with conditioning and different things and kind of showcase it out on the field. So, you know, just felt we got a lot of good reps heading into, you know, this fall. And it was just good to see, you know, the guys competing every day and, you know, it was competitive out there and we had great numbers and, you know, just a lot of quality reps this spring that you know, we feel are going to make us better in the fall. You know, it went pretty good. You know, a lot of, you know, we had a handful of injuries going into the spring, so a lot of, you know, a handful of our older players were sitting out because of a surgery or, you know, something like that. So a lot of our younger guys took some quality reps. We did have some guys missing still with them recovering from injury as well. But, you know, it was a good spring. You know, we're still a pretty young football team, as you guys know. You know, but, you know, saw guys taking quality reps. You know, offensively had a lot of linemen going through and had a lot of receivers this year, you know, that were, you know, redshirted for us in the fall that took a lot of reps this spring in live situations and, you know, got to see them and evaluate them a lot more, along with running back and quarterback as well. So just saw a lot of quality reps on the offensive side, and then, you know, on defense, a lot of young linemen, you know, got some very good reps up front and, you know, had a handful of linebackers and, you know, a lot of secondary players as well. So just saw a lot of competitiveness out there. You know, guys did a good job of transferring from, you know, classroom teaching and structure to on the field, you know, showing us, you know, that they've learned a few things in our offense and defense and having them apply it on the field. So it was a competitive spring. We got out healthy. You know, I don't think we had any injuries coming out. You know, it was a competitive game. I know the guys had a lot of fun and it was pretty entertaining, I would say, for the crowd and different things. But, you know, saw good things on both sides. Obviously a little bit different as we split up the team. You know, guys drafted and did different things this spring. But, you know, had guys split up on 2 different teams and, you know, saw good things on both sides. You know, I think we started off a little bit slow offensively. You know, I would say probably defense had the upper hand early on, and then it kind of shifted towards the second half. And, you know, just saw spurts of good things, which was good to see. And, you know, Vince Grasso ran the ball pretty well, I would say, on Saturday. You know, he's probably the most productive guy there. And, you know, saw us in the passing game do a lot of good things as well with a handful of different receivers. And you know, saw a handful of guys make some plays. So it was just good to see, you know, kind of the final scrimmage go the way it did, and guys get quality reps.